Welcome in, everybody. Ready for a deep dive into global immigration?
Always ready.
We're going behind the scenes today with Globevisa's 2024 Immigration Industry Insight Report. It's jam-packed with fascinating stuff. We're talking stats,
Oh, yeah.
expert opinions, and even some stories about specific clients.
Sounds like a good read.
It is. It gives a really unique perspective on the trends shaping how people are moving around the world.
Definitely a hot topic these days. It's a dynamic field. The first thing that really jumped out at me was Globevisa's own growth this past year. I mean, they've gone from 39 to over 50 offices globally,
Wow.
now serving clients from 108 countries. That alone says something.
Yeah, over 50 offices in a single year. With all this talk about countries tightening their borders, what's fueling that kind of demand?
Right. It is a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Even with everything going on globally, people are seeking opportunities elsewhere more and more. What do you think is driving that?
I don't know. Economic reasons, maybe?
Could be, or lifestyle changes, or just wanting a more stable future. Maybe a mix of all of those things.
Makes you wonder. It's not just individuals, though. Globevisa also launched a new sub-brand
Oh, really?
called Path Global, focused on corporate relocation specifically.
Interesting. That's a sign of the times, isn't it?
For sure.
Global mobility is becoming more and more important. It feels like companies are finally realizing that to stay competitive, they need to attract the best talent from everywhere.
Absolutely. And that's probably going to have a huge impact on the future of work. With talent pools becoming more international, we might see some big changes in the way things operate.
No doubt. Speaking of competition, the report highlights some pretty big policy changes. It's a mixed bag, really.
Yeah.
Some countries are tightening restrictions while others are actually opening up in a way.
Like a global immigration puzzle.
Exactly. And every country has its own unique set of circumstances, which makes things even more complex.
Australia, for example, completely shut down its Business Innovation and Investment Program.
Wow. Big move.
Yeah. Anyone hoping to move there through investment is going to have to look elsewhere.
Yeah, that was a popular program. It makes you wonder what their priorities are now.
Then you have Canada reducing international student quotas
Oh, wow.
and making it harder for spouses to work. Not exactly rolling out the welcome mat.
You have to consider the context, though. Rising nationalism and the economic pressures a lot of countries are facing play a big role in these decisions. Governments are under pressure to put their citizens first, and sometimes that means newcomers face more obstacles.
Okay, but then you have Greece. They actually raised the investment threshold for their Golden Visa program,
Interesting.
but at the same time introduced some more flexible options.
Ah, so they're not closing the door completely,
Yeah.
just adjusting the entry requirements.
Sorry.
And for anyone who's not familiar, a golden visa is basically a residency by investment program. You can gain residency in a country by making a pretty substantial financial investment.
Right, so it sounds like Greece still wants that foreign investment, but they're being more selective. They've come up with some creative solutions to address the housing concerns, though.
Like what?
Well, for instance, investors can now convert commercial properties into residential ones. Seems like they're really trying to find that sweet spot.
Yeah, where everybody wins. Foreign investors gain access to European residency and potentially citizenship, while the local economy gets a boost from the increased government revenue, job creation, and those solutions to housing shortages.
Exactly. It's a pretty smart approach. Now let's talk about Japan. There are always so many rumors about their immigration policies.
Oh, tell me about it.
The report debunks some of the big ones, like, is there a digital nomad visa for Japan?
I've heard that one too. It's actually not true. Not yet, anyway.
It's still just a proposal. Globevisa's regional director for the Japan market actually cleared that up in her article.
I see. So the lesson here is don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Exactly. Especially when it comes to something as important as immigration. You don't want to make life-altering decisions based on rumors and speculation.
Absolutely. Get the facts from trusted sources. It can make all the difference. What else is in the report? I'm curious about Globevisa's approach.
Well, one thing that stands out is the sheer variety of immigration programs they offer. It's like they've got something for everyone.
Ah, so they're covering all the bases. Smart
Yeah.
move. It allows them to cater to a global clientele, right? Different goals, different resources.
Exactly. Find the perfect fit for each individual, which is exactly what Irina Kush talked about in her interview.
Remind me, who's that?
She's Globevisa's top-performing overseas partner, based in Dubai. get this, she speaks 5 languages.
That's impressive.
Talk about breaking down communication barriers. I think it also says a lot about Globevisa's commitment to really understanding their clients' needs. It's not just about pushing paperwork. It's about guiding people through a complex process in a way that feels personalized.
Building trust is key in this field for sure.
Absolutely. And Irina actually shared a story about how she handled those changes to the Greek policies we were talking about. When the investment threshold went up, she quickly pivoted and recommended Portugal's Golden Visa program instead.
That's thinking on her feet. Adaptability is crucial in immigration. The rules of the game are always changing.
Right. Okay, now let's shift gears to Hong Kong. The report includes some fresh data from the Hong Kong Legislative Council meeting. It reveals the latest visa statistics. What jumped out at you?
The popularity of those talent-based schemes, the Top Talent Pass scheme in particular, has seen a huge surge in applications. It seems like Hong Kong is really making a push to attract skilled professionals.
Makes sense. They need to stay competitive globally.
Absolutely. And they're also welcoming investors. We can see that by looking at the success of the Capital Investment Entrance Scheme. Globevisa has played a big part in facilitating those applications.
Oh yeah, they've helped a ton of people secure provisional approvals and navigate that investment process.
That's great for anyone looking at Hong Kong as an option. All right, last policy update before we move on. Australia is back in the spotlight with their brand new National Innovation Visa, the NIV. This one is all about attracting those global leaders in innovation, research, and entrepreneurship. It replaces the old Global Talent Independent program, but takes it up a notch.
Yeah, they're really serious about the requirements. Applicants have to be nominated by a recognized individual or organization in their field. Plus, there's a very clear prioritization framework that favors people with, really exceptional achievements.
This program is for the top tier. We're talking Nobel laureates, Olympic athletes, groundbreaking entrepreneurs, people who have already proven themselves and have the potential to drive innovation in Australia.
So it's not just about having a good idea, it's about demonstrating real-world impact. You have to show that you're pushing boundaries.
Exactly. And that focus on innovation, it's in line with Australia's long-term economic goals. They're positioning themselves as a global hub for cutting-edge research, technology, and entrepreneurial ventures.
Building a dream team of innovators from around the world. That's a pretty smart strategy.
Definitely. And the NIV is their recruitment tool. Before we move on, there's something we should probably emphasize from the report.
What's that?
It's the whole misinformation thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there are so many misconceptions out there about immigration policies.
It can be tough to separate fact from fiction.
Right. Especially when you're making such a big decision.
It's like navigating a minefield sometimes.
Exactly. That's why working with experienced professionals like those at Globevisa can be so helpful.
They can help you cut through all the noise and get to the truth.
Precisely. Okay, so for someone who's actually considering immigration, what's the big takeaway from all of this?
The global immigration landscape is constantly changing, right?
Absolutely. It's incredibly dynamic. Challenges and opportunities are always popping up.
You really need to be ready to adapt.
Exactly. What works for one person might not work for another. It all comes down to your individual goals, circumstances.
Your risk tolerance, even where.
Right. It's all about personalized strategies.
That's where Globevisa's Amazon model seems to make a lot of sense. They've got options for everyone.
High net worth investors.
Skilled professionals.
Families just looking for a better life. And they seem to really focus on that client-centric approach.
Like we were talking about with Irina.
Right. It's not just processing paperwork. It's about understanding the client's needs and crafting solutions.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get into some specific programs the report highlights. Let's start with Greece.
Oh, yeah. They've been in the news a lot lately with all their policy changes.
They've been adapting, right, rather than shutting down programs completely. That tiered investment system for the Golden Visa is a good example.
They've got options now for different investment levels.
What's the minimum investment required to qualify these days?
You can get residency in Greece with a $250,000 investment in real estate.
That's not bad compared to some other European Golden Visa programs.
Nope. Seems like it's paying off too. The report says that Globevisa's Greece Golden Visa project team brought in over 810 signed clients last year.
Wow.
They even have a dedicated team of over 100 professionals working on that program.
Greece is still a popular choice, it seems.
Definitely. What about Portugal? They made some pretty big changes to their Golden Visa program, too.
Oh, yeah. They're really pushing those fund investments now.
Globevisa has been busy educating investors about the new fund options. They even held seminars all over China.
With industry experts.
Exactly. Ruia Cispasos and Guilherme Valadares Carrero, to name a couple. Always good to have those experts on hand.
Shows that they're staying ahead of the curve. Okay, now let's talk about a country that's always a major player in the immigration world, the United States.
The land of opportunity. What's happening over there?
Well, the EB-5 visa program is still popular with investors,
As it should be.
but it sounds like things are getting a bit more complicated.
How so?
Well, the report talks about potential scheduling delays and some changes to the quota system.
Oh, that could be an issue. So what does that mean for someone who's considering the EB-5 route?
Well, first off, demand is high, which means processing times are longer.
That's never good.
And then there's concern that new quotas for certain categories, like urban high unemployment projects, could lead to even more backlogs.
So basically, a longer wait time. Ugh, not ideal.
Not ideal at all. Globevisa's legal team has been analyzing these trends. They're predicting that anyone who wants to get U.S. residency quickly should probably submit their application sooner rather than later.
Before the window closes.
Right. Looks like it might close in 2025.
So a sense of urgency for those EB-5 hopefuls.
Definitely. And that underscores the need for expert guidance.
Right. Without a doubt. You really need someone who knows the ins and outs of the EB-5 program to help you navigate all this, especially with those deadlines looming. Okay, before we move on, let's talk about Turkey quickly.
Oh yeah, they did something pretty unexpected.
They terminated their YUVM account program.
Which was popular for naturalization.
Right. Interesting, though, it actually reflects some positive things happening in the Turkish economy.
So closing down a program is actually a good sign.
Sometimes, yeah. The report suggests that this means they're confident in the Turkish lira's stability and their overall financial health. It's not about closing doors, it's about adjusting their strategies as their economy improves.
They're saying, hey, we're doing great. We don't need this program anymore.
Pretty much. Reminds us that it's important to look beyond the headlines and understand the bigger picture.
Okay, last stop on our world tour today. Let's talk about Hong Kong.
Hong Kong's been attracting a lot of talent lately.
They've bounced back.
They have. The data from that Hong Kong Legislative Council meeting really shows that trend. Those talent-based schemes, especially the Top Talent Pass scheme, are seeing a huge surge in applications and approvals.
So they're really positioning themselves as a global hub for skilled professionals.
And they're welcoming investors, too. Just look at the Capital Investment Entrance Scheme.
Globevisa has a great track record with that one.
Yeah, they've helped so many people get provisional approvals and navigate the investment process. They really know that market.
If you're looking for a new challenge, Hong Kong might be worth considering.
It's definitely a contender.
All right, let's shift gears one last time. Down under to Australia.
Always an interesting case. What are they up to?
They've launched that new National Innovation Visa, the NIV.
Ah, yes. That's a signal that they're all in on innovation and entrepreneurship.
They want people who can contribute in big ways.
And they have pretty high standards.
Oh yeah, those requirements are no joke. You need a nomination from someone established in your field and a really strong track record of achievements.
This visa is for the top tier of talent. We're talking about people who have already made a significant impact in their field, people who are pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
It's like they're building a dream team of innovators from around the world.
And the NIV is their way of scouting those players.
They're not messing around.
Not at all. It's a strategic move to position themselves as a leader in those key industries.
So for someone listening who might actually be a good fit for that visa, what are the most important things to know?
Well, first you have to understand, this visa is for the top talent. It's not for those just starting out. You need to have a track record of exceptional achievements.
And the potential to keep innovating at the highest level.
Exactly. And remember that nomination piece. You can't just apply. You need to be endorsed by a recognized individual or organization in your field. It's like a stamp of approval.
It's like getting a golden ticket.
That's a great way to put it. It's not just about what you've done. It's about having someone with credibility recognize your potential.
Saying this person deserves to be in Australia.
Right. It adds that extra layer of prestige to the program. Australia is basically saying, we only want the best.
They're definitely setting a high bar. But for those who can reach it, it sounds like an amazing opportunity.
Oh yeah, a chance to collaborate with leading researchers, entrepreneurs, and innovators in a country that's known for its supportive environment and infrastructure. Okay, before we wrap things up, Let's take a minute to recap everything we've talked about today.
That's good. The global immigration landscape is changing all the time, right?
Absolutely. Countries are always adjusting their policies to keep up with economic pressures, talent shortages, global trends.
And we saw how important it is to have a personalized strategy.
No one-size-fits-all solution.
Working with experts can make a huge difference.
Definitely. And maybe the most important thing is to stay informed.
Stay adaptable.
Because things change quickly. The world of immigration is dynamic. What's true today might not be true tomorrow.
It's a constant learning process.
It is. So for anyone listening who's maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed, I would just say, don't be afraid to dream big.
The world is full of opportunities.
It really is. With the right guidance, a bit of courage, you can achieve anything. Whether it's finding a better job, reuniting with your family, or starting a new life somewhere else entirely. There are paths out there for those who are willing to look.
Well said. It's been a really insightful conversation.
I agree. I hope our listeners got a lot out of it.
I'm sure they did. And who knows, maybe we'll see some of you out there on the global stage someday.
Maybe.
Until then, safe travels, everyone, and remember, the world is your oyster.